Here we go. Go ahead.
Hello, I am Sergio Magaña, and here is your superior self.
Sergio, how are you? I want to say, first off, let me just say thank you for joining the show. This is going to be fantastic. I can't wait to talk to you. Thank you for joining.
No, thank you for the invitation, and very good, very good here in this changing world. So, trying to go with the flow and and really happy to talk about that and being here.
Awesome. So you're a practitioner, you're a teacher of like of a spiritual lineage, right? That began 5,000 years ago. Um, can you explain to us how you came into that profession?
Yeah, actually, now it became like my profession, like you say, but I never was like my hobby, the things that I loved, that I believed in. I was born in a Catholic family, so it wasn't by blood, but my mother worked, so I was really raised by my nanny. The nanny was like the daughter of a healer, curandero, of an indigenous group that they lived very close to Mexico City, that they are the Otomis. So she was supposed to replace her father, but the circumstances of life didn't allow that. So since I was a child, I always remember that she was doing these kind of things like smudging, like clearing you with the egg and reading it, and healing by touching your spine or your skin. So I developed like a profound respect because I saw that it was as effective as the normal medicine that my family would have taken me to. Then of course I grew up, and I kept believing, but I was living like a normal life. But there was like a casting to be a radio host of a spiritual show, and I went. I was chosen, so I was on the air like 19 years in Mexico City in this radio show in which I was interviewing people from Buddhism, Kabbalah, spirituality, science, many different things. And that show changed my life because one of the listeners was one of the keepers of those lineages that you were speaking that had been transmitted from master to student for thousands of years. So he heard the show, and I don't know how, but with the voice, he said, "He's the one that is going to spread like the information of my lineage into the world." And then in that radio show, we were sponsoring certain workshops of energy and many things. So he started going, and I remember him a lot because he was interrupting and interrupting and giving more information. And then in the breaks, he came and told me, "Okay, I didn't come to learn anything. I came to teach you." And I didn't believe it at all in the beginning because in the spiritual world there is a lot of people that say, "I am the return of Christ, I am the return of Quetzalcoatl," or many things that then you say, "Oh my God." But he insisted. He came 3 times, and in the third one, actually, he explained me like the mathematics of the universe, according to the ancient Mexicans, the long count. Most of the information that I put in the book that you read uh, comes from that first hour. And now he's my one of my main teachers, Hugo Garcia, and a very good friend actually.
So the book we're talking about is the real Toltec prophecies. Um, how the Aztec calendar predicted modern day events and reveals a pathway to a new era of humankind. Very interesting read. Very cool to read about that culture and the lineage. How did I mean? So you talked about the radio show, and it kind of guided you to where you're at today. And you said it was kind of like, that was your job, and now you're doing this. Like, did you ever, I mean, like, what did that transition feel like? I mean, how did your family accept it? Like, was it okay? Like, were they okay? Like, that's cool. Like, let's do this. Or was it like any resistance?
Mm, for me, it was very natural because uh, then also Hugo introduced me to other of his friends, Xolotl, that was other keeper of a lineage of dreaming and of the theory of the cosmology of the Toltecs and Aztecs, and it sounded so logic for me. And actually, I transformed myself because I had been like in a spiritual um, looking for many options, and then I said I have it in home in my house in Mexico. My family, of course, they of course they didn't oppose, but they in the beginning I think they thought that it was going to be a certain time, and then I was going to become normal for them.
Become normal.
Normal and normal. And it didn't happen. And then when they saw me, because there are like these dance ceremonies that are done like in the main plaza of Mexico City where the major temple of the Aztecs was, that then my mother was a little bit worried, like, okay, we are losing him. And then now they didn't transform, they believe many things, but they respect it, and they are quite cool with that.
You also have a book titled Caves of Power, right? Can you explain that you use ancient energy techniques for healing, like and rejuvenation and manifestation? Like, what type of healing techniques and what kind of manifestation?
Yeah. The word cave for the ancient ones was like the one to describe your inner self, what is hidden in your inside, like the caves are like hidden inside of the earth. So caves of power are like certain techniques that you may do in order to achieve your power. There are caves of power that you can do in the waking state or in the dreaming state. So there are like, for example, befriending certain energies, like the energy of the darkness of the night. But it's not like a bad thing, not a good thing, because that is like befriending. Uh, Nowadays, it will be name your unconscious, and it's the gap between your thoughts. It's also the state that you have in delta when you're in deep sleep and when your body repairs, and and also your dreams. So actually, many of the healings and the rejuvenation techniques consist in being able to, through different breathings, through mathematics or states of trance, without any substance on that, to take your clients to that state in which their brain waves will be like delta wake, uh, and to make modifications in like I always was telling my clients when I was doing that, like in a dream, you are healing like in a dream, and like that, and knowing also the vocabulary of dreams, how you heal on that, and also healing ancestors, cutting, for example, the energy, the influence of your parents in your blood, and all these things that come from the in a modern way, because I modernize it, but that comes from the Toltecs, from the Aztecs, Teotihuacans.
Hmm. It sounds almost like similar to like hypnosis, like therapy, right? Like, is that similar, or like when you get into different states? I mean, I guess with hypnosis you get into like, I don't know if you get into delta, but you definitely get in alpha, right?
Yeah, because of course, in the ancient tradition, they never called about, they never named brainwaves and that. They described that they were 4 steps in order to fall asleep, actually. and that it would be to go through those 4 steps. That the first one is feeling heavy. That could be similar to hypnosis. The second is stiff. It starts being rigid because you are entering in the famous sleep or dream paralysis, the mechanism that your brain activates so that you don't act your dreams. The third is the dropping the temperature, and the fourth is the change of because the dream paralysis is becoming stronger. So in order, then you change the frequency of your breathing to like a rhythm, like, and then is when you are entering in this state in which your brain waves are like if you were sleeping, but you are kind of awake. So it's very very actually. And then it's also it can be um, reinforced, for example, with movements of the eyes that you tell your client like to cross the eyes with the closed eyes, but to cross, I like to see the nose. Those and the eye movement takes you to different states, also in your brain waves that are like you were dreaming.
Hmm.
And then if you know what to do there, the things happen a lot easier. That's why I think it was a huge average of success in healings and that.
Really? So like crossing your eyes with doing a breathing exercise can get you in those familiar states, like those dreaming states. Wow, that's pretty amazing. Like, can you give me an example of a breathing exercise?
For example, there are in the ancient tradition, everything was based in mathematics. So, for example, and in cosmic cycles, actually, Toltec comes from Toli, the measure, which measure of the cosmos. So, for example, if you want to tune with the moon, it may be to breathe in with your nose, counting 7, not saying 7, really counting, and then breathe out with your mouth, counting 7. If you do it 7 times, then you are tuning with the first phase of the moon because officially the moon goes 7 days. Of course, it's waxing or growing every day, but it stays 7 days in each phase. So it will be 7, 7, and then you can add certain exercises. For example, visualize that your blood became a serpent or something like that. That is the symbol of healing and rejuvenation, and then going to the heart and start to slow your heart more, slow down all the cycles of your body, and you are starting to feel heavy, and you are falling asleep without losing consciousness. 1, and then you keep counting until 9, and you go through all the stages that I described before, and then you really entered like in a state that in the beginning, when I started learning these things, I thought I am awake. But then I said no, until I convinced myself because I was snoring. I was like totally conscious, and I was hearing everything that was happening in both worlds and seeing images. I said, "Oh my God, it's truth!" What the ancient ones named ensoñación, dreaming while awake. And to those states is where you take people in order to be able to be healed and rejuvenate.
What's what? Can you give me an example of like a powerful experience with that? Right? Like, have you, when you're in those states, have you gotten any feedback or information that has been just transformational in your life?
In my life, actually, um, I create from those states almost all my life, because for me, the dreaming lessons were first. I was very young when Hugo found me, and it sounded cool for me because it was a way to manifest your reality through your dreams. Then I knew that it was to also to heal your unconsciousness and to die consciously. But in the beginning, it was to manifest, and I was kind of fascinated. I can tell you like many things. For example, Beth. Beth
Mhm.
uh, my PR.
Yeah.
And when I was in Caves of Power, the promotion last time, she told me, if you want to do big things in America, you need a celebrity to follow you. So, for example, that night I enter in lucidity, I planted in the dream celebrity that follows me, and like that. And like in 2 weeks or three, Michelle Rodriguez from Fast and the Furious and Avatar, and then she called me and she wanted to train with me. Now is my best friend. Actually, she read the audiobook of the Real Toltec Prophecies. It's in her voice. But like those kind of things, this I tell it because it's fun and it's like, okay, what you want, manifest it and publishers and that. But of course now I have done very deep experiences through that also of healing the relationship with my mother and of rejuvenating actually and many things. And also like the students, but that one is quite fun because I it is said that in the dreaming world that is the web of the spider that is the collective dream, and then is where you can manifest things that are outside you, and that's where I planted a celebrity to not to follow me but to be interested in these things, and now we are very good friends and we're doing many projects together.
Wow, you need to teach me how to get to that spider web so I can plant some desires that I have, and maybe I can get a celebrity to follow me too. Um, that's pretty amazing though. I mean, it is like,
Well,
um, I mean, to be able to create your reality, like I've been struggling with that, right? Like I know that we've created a reality in this incarnation, right? And to be able to change the game a little bit, to awaken to that inner power, to awaken to the power that's inside of us. But to do something like that and see it, it like reinforces that idea that we are truly remarkable beings, right? Like, I mean, just to see it, just to have that happen to you, and I'm sure you have a million different examples of that, but like each time it happens, it's got to feel like, wow, like this is like nothing else I can ever imagine.
yeah, I'm totally convinced, and I wasn't when he found me in the radio. Uh, then he told me that your dreams created your reality, and actually uh, um he told me that one of the Teotihuacan's phrases was, "The one that doesn't work or remember his dreams is like a living dead, because has no control of of his waking state." And that is an anonymous phrase from Teotihuacan from thousands years ago. That time I replied, but also what you think, what you feel, what you speak are really important. What you eat are really important for creating that. And he told me, but that depends of what you dream. In that day, I said, maybe yes, maybe not. uh, but I decided like to try, because the first techniques were like to make like the inception of certain archetypes before you fall asleep, in order to say, I plant the crocodile in order to get abundance, or I plant the hummingbird in order to get the, not that easy, but with certain breathings and that, but it's the idea, in order to get that and that. And like it began working at the start, I said, yes, it's truth. Now I'm totally convinced. I That's why I say to almost all the people, don't work in the waking state. It costs a lot. It's like trying to edit a film in the cinema. Go to your dreams or go before. That is where the shooting is happening, and that and for even then, I remember that he told me that's why in all the languages of the world you can see the girl of my dreams, the house of my dreams, the whatever of my dreams. That means that you dreamt it first. It's hidden in the language. And I have seen now a lot of people that then I will meet in my dreams, and now I just can say like, the girl of my dreams, the man of my dreams, my worst nightmare, because you know from the dream what is going what is going to develop when you see them, and probably you haven't met them. It's amazing. It's
Yeah,
amazing. And
no, I mean, yeah, I mean, I've definitely been able to manifest a couple of things just trying out with meditation. But when you're doing that, when you're trying when you're trying to manifest those things, do you have to like see yourself doing the thing that you want to happen, or do you just kind of plant that seed of, hey, just can you just be like, all right, I want this to happen, or do you have to like see it? Do you have to feel it? Do you have to be there? Do you have to live it out? Like, what does that look like?
no, for example, in the there are different techniques. There is a vocabulary of dreaming. So, for example, you know which archetype represents what, and then, for example, the jaguar is the one that heals the underworlds or the unconscious. So there could be like a certain affirmations in the hypnagogic state before you fall asleep that today I dream with the jaguar. The jaguar heals my addiction to cigarettes. And if I see a jaguar in my dreams, I will wake up for a glimpse to remember that I saw it. Those ones are very concrete in that way, seeing certain archetypes. Of course, then it means that because it's your dream body that is coming to a jaguar, so that is healing your own consciousness. But is to see like these kind of archetypes. For example, but that when you are lucid, for example, if I wake up in the dream and I said, okay, I'm dreaming that I'm doing an interview. I don't have to keep the logic of the interview. Probably I could have say rain and purify my emotions or whatever things that you know of them about what you want to manifest. For example, in the case of Michelle, I didn't say who and nothing. I just got lucid and I said, okay, the spider web, and I saw the web, and it was like a finger, boom, in touching one point of the web, and I said, celebrity that follows me, because those points in the spider web that unify many threads are like points in time and space, but it happened really quickly. So it's like actually it's like a video game, and actually one of the projects that I'm doing with Michelle is a video game about dreaming, so that people that play will know how to dream also.
I'm gonna
But
get that video game for sure. And your practices too, right? Like, so I'm still learning a little bit more about you. So you have a prophecy book, right? And you have the years, like you talk about 2012, we talked about 2021 this year, and then 2026, and it's all mathematically related, right? And it's very sophisticated stuff. Are you able at all to like see individual prophecies? Are you able to see individual futures or anything like that with your practice or your healing or anything like that?
yeah, in dreams there is a way to enter in prophetic dreams. Uh, I'm able, but that's not the part of the dreaming work that I like, because like everyone, you may like certain things. I prefer the things of creation, and I prefer also the things of healing through dreams. But it's just the matter of, for example, if you appear in the dream, if you go to where your mind is, for example, if I see myself like my energetic double, like the hand here, and I go here, boom, and I cross, I will open the future. Of course, you need to open the future asking something, because if not, the future is huge. So the people that have prophetic dreams, actually, what happens to them is that in the way that the energetic body moves, is towards their mind. It doesn't happen to too many people, because when it touches your mind, many people wake up, so they don't know that they are seeing the prophecies, or they don't get there. But I prefer to do certain things. I don't like to see how the future comes. I like to create it. There are other techniques in the dreaming world than that. But Yes, it's possible.
Hmm. That's awesome. What's like a technique for a guy like me who I don't know the archetypes, right? If I want to be aware of my dream, if I want to have a lucid dream, what's one technique that I can use? Because I
The
heard
one,
something like if you can like see your hands in a dream, like that's one step in the going to the lucid dreaming. I never I've never tried. I've never been able to do it. Like when I'm dreaming, I feel like I'm dreaming. Like I'm not aware that I can change that dream. You know what I mean?
first of all, there are many ways to get there. One of the reality checks that people do is like the hands. That's a very famous one. Uh, but for example, that would be if you feel that you're dreaming, to remember to look at your hand, and if you shake it and it changes, you are dreaming. Normally, I don't get to lucid dreaming like that. What I do is what I described you before, like begin breathing and then slowing the heart and feeling heavy, stiff, and like that. And I enter like that, and I know that I'm dreaming, and I start like constructing the dreams from there. That is in the way that I love to do it. Of course, there are others that is like also to document your dreams for a certain period, and then you will see that you have repetitive patterns. For example, it may be your school when you were a child, or your grandmother, dead grandmother, or whatever. No? And then you can begin in the hypnagogic before falling asleep, telling yourself like, today, if I see my dead grandmother, I will know that I'm dreaming. And then you can add, and I will transform myself into an eagle and go to the sun. That means my spiritual flight. So, what would you like to do? Or I will, I don't know, I will grow. For example, the in the Toltec tradition, that's very interesting, and I didn't believe it until I saw it. The people that impress you or that you like a lot, like in a certain way, or that you feel or you fear in the dreams, the because normally people just see the stories, but they don't see details. So you will see them bigger than you. Even probably in this life, in the waking state, they are shorter, but they will look bigger than you. And one of the self-esteem ways of in the Toltec tradition to heal that is to make you yourself grow at least to the same level of the people that you admire, or to, or even higher.
Mm, that is awesome, man. Um, there is a I looked at your website and there's a poem on here. And I'm going to recite it because it's really short and I really liked it a lot and I kind of want to get your take on it. So a warrior only lives twice, once for himself, once for his dreams. The years go by and life seems devious until a dream appears. And freedom is its name. Freedom is a stranger who signals the way. Don't think about danger, or the stranger will be gone. This dream is for you, therefore, pay the price. Turn this dream into reality. A warrior only lives twice. That is pretty interesting. What? So, can you go into that? Like, can you talk about that?
Of course, for example, what people name deja vu, that is, I have lived this. Actually, for us in the ancient tradition, is I have already dreamt it. That's why it is said lives twice, because everything has been lived in the dreaming state and then in the waking state. And to be able to see that, because normally then if we can say normal people just live once, because they just live in the tonal or the conscious mind. If you are a warrior, you live twice in both of them, and being able to do that then represents your freedom. And some people get like afraid of being in the or dangerous even for religion or a sinner to be doing that. But that dream is like your freedom. And of course, like dying is very similar of like to dreaming. Then to be able to do that will represent your ultimate freedom.
That's some powerful stuff right there. Um, do you believe in reincarnation?
Yes.
Yes. Um, I've become fascinated with it. So like near death experiences, reading those books, understanding like what the other side is like. Have you ever experienced that from the dream state? Like what the other side, like the non-physical is like?
Uh, yes, actually, there are like practices of what is called conscious dying. That is slowing the heart much more, and also it's complemented. For example, I did it in certain retreats with uh, snake venom, not in the doses to die, but if you know how to do it, because it's were ancient practices, then the venom paralyzes you completely, much more like that in a sleep paralysis. So a certain part of you feel that you are dying, and then to practice in the way that it was described, and the first is the experience in your mind, what is going to happen, then what happens when the mind joins the soul, and what you should do, and then when you go to see your spirit or the dazzling darkness, and then how you would leave your body and decide a destiny, or the sun or the Pleiades to become like a kind of angel, but be built in, or the Nahual here. So there are a lot of teachings that cover even the material of dreaming. I haven't had like an experience of an accident or something like that, but I have practiced a lot. Actually, it is said that first you have to practice every 20 days. Then, if you feel by intuition that you are closer, every 13 days. Then each one, you're dead, like once a week. Then every 4 days, and then every day. And that the best thing that could happen to you is to die while you are doing it, because you will go to the place where it is. And actually, I practiced my death. And the closest that I was of seeing the effectiveness of these practices was the earthquake that was in Mexico like 3 years ago. That my building is really damaged; it almost fell down. And in a certain part, when I saw the things falling down and everything, I said, "Okay, that's it. I cannot." I was in a 10th floor. I said, "I cannot go down. I cannot go anywhere." So, and part of me said, please, don't. And then I thought, okay, if it falls, half of me would love to be rescued. But the other part said, okay, let's see. It's a huge opportunity to try to prove if the conscious dying things are really true. I don't know, but at least I thought that I was going to be less desperate than everyone else between the pieces of building, because at least I was going to be trying slow the car, slow go from the chest, and that gave me so much peace that I said, okay, it's worth it, even if it doesn't work at then, but it gives you like that sense that you know how to do something, that certainty.
So you've actually tried the conscious dying, like the snake venom. You've done that?
Yeah, many times. And actually, in my retreats, that people came to Mexico from all over the world, where I was giving them venom. Of course, we know how many drops in order that it's completely safe, that just paralyze you.
Let's hope you get that measurement right. Like seriously, like
Yeah.
let's
No.
not go too much. And at
No.
first, and then where do you get the venom from? Is there like a snake shop that you can go get?
I got it from the university. There is a university of uh, of nature things, agriculture, and that they have like the snakes there. They are milking them to create medicines for cancer and that. And also they so one there was one of the biologists is my friend, and he knew that I was practicing the ancient tradition, so he gave me venoms of a snake,
That's
of a
awesome.
and that. But logic, because people think that they are going to come many times like to feel ayahuasca or peyote. No, it's just like the paralysis in order. And when you know that you by will took venom, then you one part of your mind activates that maybe I die. So the first thing that you must deal with is your fear of death. Because actually if you did it and you say, oh my god, probably people will think, uh, does he know what he's doing, how many drops, and then when you're feeling that you cannot move, from there, okay, everyone was guided in the meditation and that, and the next day they say put more, because I didn't.
Put
Because I want
more. Oh
no.
man. Oh,
But it's an interesting thing. But you are not hallucinating and nothing like that.
sure.
It's just you are getting the dream paralysis, but one that you cannot break, because the venom is, even though that you feel and you want to move, it's impossible.
Have you ever done ayahuasca or anything like that? As far as like peyote or anything like that?
Yes, but only once, very few times. Mushrooms like three, because like I was in this training of obsidian mirrors and that, so I said it's good. I got certain insight, but I was getting them from my spiritual work, so I didn't think it was necessary in my path, at least.
Sure. No, I think so. The one thing that I will say is like I've never done that either. I've never tried anything that has been, plant based or hallucinogens or ayahuasca or psilocybin or anything like that, because I want to get there through natural ways, right? Like I want to reach that realm or that whatever that is, that consciousness through meditation or just like spirituality. Like I want to experience that for myself, because like I feel like as mankind we're always trying to get shortcuts to things, right? Like we want to experience nirvana, we want to experience, that reality, that love, that oneness so badly that we're creating LSD, we're creating this chemical that is a key, is a shortcut to nirvana, but it doesn't last, right? Like it doesn't last. It's like, you're on a roller coaster, you're going up, you hit the top, and now guess what, you're coming right back down. So you experience that, and then it's not like everlasting, right? But it's never going to be everlasting because we're in this incarnation. And I think the game is like what you're doing, like the dream states, to alter consciousness and experiencing that stuff, because you can prolong that and you can kind of implement it into your life. It's like finding that freedom from the highs and lows. It's like being right there and just kind of like living your life at a level that is very, it's like my wife put something on my chalkboard. It's like just be, right. And I think the ego has a lot to play with that. And I think that the ego entices us to go after things, these ayahuasca trips, these ceremonies, to get to these levels. But I think there's a lot of healing in that. But it's like as soon as you go and you have these experiences, these ceremonies, you have this healing, and then a week later you're back at your job and you're like, now you're feeling like crap again, right? Like you can't keep doing the ayahuasca, you can't keep doing that, but you can keep doing the dream states, like you can keep doing the meditations. And I don't, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. Like I told you, I did it, and at least it was good for me because I saw that it was similar. That the things that you saw, for example, in an obsidian mirror or in water, or in things were kind of similar, or in dreams, and that to the ones that you saw tripping. But that, like you say, it can, you can reproduce it every day if you want, without any harm, without doing or 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 spoiling your life for for anything. So, but at least for me, it was good to see. Oh, it's similar. So I am in a good way in what I'm doing.
That's
Um,
awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I know. I've been. I've been experimenting like with meditation and dream states and stuff like as soon as I get up, like 4 o'clock, I'll get up at 4 o'clock coming out of that, sleep state and try to get immediately go into meditation so that like I'm in those states of consciousness. And what I experience, it's like I can't but I think that it's very subjective too. I think each person's experience is different because it's that person's experience with God or the universe or consciousness or whatever you want to term it. Um, but I think those states, like you were talking about, like I'm gonna definitely try. I'm gonna read your book. Uh, and try to do the affirmations and see if that works. But it's like, it's just the journey, man. Like it's just the journey of trying to reach that part of spirituality, and all roads lead to the same thing, right? Um, eventually, I mean, everyone reaches that oneness, that higher self. I think if you're awakened to that. Speaking of which, like, where do you want to go, Sergio? Like, what is your goal? What is your dream? Like you talk about dreams, all that, in your books, you talk about it on your website. Like, what is your ultimate dream?
In some years ago, my dream actually that was like to preserve and to spread something that was almost extinct, that was like the Toltec and Aztec ancient practices. And I think that was like fulfilled. Now I have like more dreams, even like the video game. The idea of the video game was because I was with one of a very brilliant friend that he told me, if you want to reach millennials, they don't like spirituality. You should do it like a game or something like that. So to spread it like that, to live a better world, to help in this transition with the information of the knowledge. But now I feel quite happy with me. So with what I have done. So not from the ego. Like it's just like I see like my dream would be like keeping this way, doing good things, and to die consciously or to find something that interests more my consciousness in order to keep on.
To not freak out in a building when you think it's coming down. That that is awesome.
No, but I freaked out. Then I said, uh, first I was like, Mother Earth, don't do this.
Don't take me. I'm not ready. But I am gonna meditate later, and I definitely want to experience you. Just don't take me now.
Then okay, okay. Then I'll see if I can really go to the sun and all these kind of things.
Well, it's interesting though, like the virtual reality part of it, because we're definitely coming to an age where virtual reality is a thing. My son just got a virtual reality thing for Christmas, and it is phenomenal. It's like the Oculus thing with Facebook or something like that, and VR and AI are going to be so big in the upcoming years. Like I think like you're going to be able to do teachings like I believe this 100%. Like you'll be able to do your teachings in a setting that is, you won't have to leave your house. Like you'll be able to have like an avatar, and you'll be able to teach them um you know these dream states, and do that from the comfort of your house. I mean, obviously you can do that. I think, can you do that now on Zoom?
Yeah, yeah, that changed last year. That of course I was all over the world. Now it's on Zoom, but then I know that it's going to evolve to other things.
Yeah. Well, I follow Peter Diamandis, and he has like he's the guy that's, he's big with AI and technology and SpaceX and stuff like that. Um he talks big about like avatars and AI, where like people are actually going to have like, if you, let's say we ever get back to the point where we have conferences and things like that, and you have like your students you have like over 100,000 students. Let's say you get to the point where you have people come back into conferences, like you're going to be able to have an avatar there, at some point, like a virtual, maybe even like some type of hologram of you giving like a class on your expertise. It's crazy what the world's coming to. So good on you for going after the video game world. Like the younger generations are, you're definitely right. Like they're definitely more attracted to the artificial gaming. I mean, that's one way to connect with them, right? I can't get my son off of Fortnite. Um, so I mean, any way you can connect with them to teach them about your experiences, your culture, your traditions. I mean, that's fascinating. I just wonder how you're going to do that, right? Like, how can you transition, your teachings into a video game?
Like a game. Is the secret is not telling them that you are teaching anything. They are playing, but it should be the same archetypes, like to find the jaguar or to the snake of the bite where you may die, or whatever. All the things that happen really in dreams to. And eventually, I think it's if you play it a lot, then you will dream it because it happens, and then you will have like this kind of benefits. So that's why we are really, really like, um, I think in a like you say, in a very futurist way, trying to improve the world. And that's the main project that I'm doing. Like I said, with because it started with a dream that I planted a celebrity, but a very high evolved celebrity that wants to do these things with me.
Michelle Rodriguez, she's from Fast and Furious and Avatar, right?
Yeah,
So you guys are best friends now?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Nice. And this is all because of your techniques and affirmations and going into the dream world and planting that seed and putting it out to the universe and saying, help me with this. And this has been able to be manifested. That is incredible. Like, could you ever imagine, like, seriously, when you met your teacher, when you were back, back in the day, I mean, you couldn't have ever imagined that this is where you're standing today.
No, not at all. Never. And to have that power of manifesting things and that, and and options, and saying, okay, fall down building, I will try. No, 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 no. Far,
That's
very far
awesome.
away. And
That's
that's
awesome.
why I, in a very humble way, I try to teach everyone and to tell them it's true. Experience it. Don't trust in me. Experience it.
Experience it. Reach out to Sergio. Like, let him know. How can people reach out to you? How can they get in touch with you?
And my website is sergiomagana.com. I have also an Spanish and a Facebook, an English Facebook, Sergio Magana and Sergio Magana Coyotl. That is Spanish.
Nice. Sergio, what do you want your legacy to be?
uh, but not my legacy. I would like to see a world in which that power of like I said in the book, uh, that religions created of, or science and many things, that everything is outside you, that medicine needs to come from the outside, from a vaccine or for whatever, or from a god or something, goes completely, but at least uh, half halfway inside of us, and people living it and having those options,
Mm,
so I would like, and to be one, to know, not recognize, but knowing that I was one of the ones that was pushing the people, try it, do it, and like that. That will be like, I will be really satisfied.
I'm really satisfied with this conversation, Sergio. This has been fun, my friend. Thank you so much for joining the show. I really, really appreciate your time.
No, thank you to you, and thank you for spreading the word.